Town of Southbridge, adjourn of Person and Property Subcommittee Council meeting, Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, 6 p.m., Veteran Room. Call to order. Roll call. Councilor Ortiz,
Present.
Councilor Rivas,
Present.
Citizen members Roland LaRochelle,
Present.
Citizen member Dave Adam.
He's excused, he couldn't be here tonight. Is that another meeting?
Okay. Thank you. We have a form. Agenda 3, review, discuss the town manager appointment of Abby Lutmer of Pottsboro, Texas, as a full-time firefighter for the town of Southbridge. Base, up the fire chief recommendation, up successful completion of all medical and physical testing, included passing state physical assessment, test, PAT, background check, and state ADIC training. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend to town council for confirmation.
So moved.
Second.
I move second. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you. Before we start, thank you for bringing this forward again. As you're aware, the previous PPP meeting, we had brought forward 3 names. There were some questions about the appointment of the third candidate, Abby Lutmer. Before we begin, I just wanted to entertain, if you will, a substitute motion, which would read as follows, and I passed it out. If you can give this to Councilor Rivas. It would simply vote to confirm the town manager's appointment of Abby Lutmer of Pottsboro, Texas, as a full-time firefighter for the town of Southbridge, based upon the fire chief's recommendation with a start date of April 1st, 2025, contingent upon successful completion of all medical and physical testing, including passing the state physical assessment test, PAT, background checks, and state ethics training.
Anybody know?
I would like to make the motion to add this
As a substitute.
as a substitute motion.
Second?
Second.
First and second?
So, all in
Any-
favor? All
All-
in favor?
all-
You
That's
good?
your job.
okay. Go ahead.
Chairman,
You wanna let the chief talk first, or you?
oh yeah, go ahead, chief.
Yeah, so could I,
Yeah.
just on regards to the candidate, so as I mentioned at the previous meeting, we had 3 openings. The question was, when was Captain Matthew actually retiring? Was it confirmed? We have confirmed his actual walkout is tomorrow afternoon. And is he here today? Unfortunately, I will not be able to be here, and I think a couple councils won't either because we're at a conference. So, no slight on Captain Matthew. I sincerely appreciate all his service to the community. The fact is that we are at a conference in Boston that starts at 2 p.m. Just convey that to the fire department, so I want to make sure everybody is aware of it in public, since you're all here, that it's not that we don't want to be there. I certainly appreciate all that he has done on behalf of the town of Southbridge, the Fire Station Building Committee, and his retirement, well deserved. He will be missed by everybody, and me included. So I just want to put that on the record so everybody was aware of that. We have confirmed that he, again, his last active work date will be tomorrow, when he'll walk out, and his last day on the books as a career firefighter in the town of Southbridge will be March 20th. Hence the date to put this candidate forward for the April 1st date. I've had the opportunity of meeting with Abby via Zoom after that last meeting, and today in our office, and she is here today, and she has flown up again from Texas. This is the 3rd time that she has come to town and in pursuit of this position. So I'll turn it over to the chief. He can give her qualifications as he did at the last meeting.
So good evening, everybody, and everybody in the audience. Abby currently resides in Pottsboro, Texas. Her goal was to come to New England to experience a different way of life in Texas. She reconfirms that same thought today when we spoke with her, even with the snow in the cold, because she just had snow in Florida before she left. She currently works full-time at the Denison Fire Rescue as a firefighter and paramedic from 2022. She was previously involved with the Howe Fire Rescue Department in early 2018. at the same capacity. She has an associate's degree of arts from North Central Texas College. During the interview process, Abby expressed the desire to continue her training and career in different areas of the country, where she has chose Southbridge to land at this point. Her start date will not take effect until, like the manager said, until Captain Matthew retires, and we're looking at an April start date. In discussions with the town manager, this would be a great time for her to get into the system, to complete all the medical, psychological testing requirements, and to find a place to live here in the area. At this point in time, you know, Abby is here, and I still highly recommend her to start working for us. She will not have to go to the fire academy due to she already has the fire academy training through the Texas. And she also is a registered paramedic in Massachusetts, and she'll be able to get feet on the ground and start running on her first few days of work.
Any, go ahead, Ted.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say thank you to Officer Matthew for the years of service. Outstanding job. Sad to see him go, to lose that experience. But at the same time, on a bright note, we have Abby Lutmere in front of us. One of the concerns of our council had was the call volume that we have. We would like to hire people and put them to work immediately. I think Abby has answered the call by saying she'll start on April 1st. So that gives her time to get this certain training during the month of February. Officer Matthew will be leaving at the end of the month, and she will be starting the first of the month. And as long as there's no April Fools on April 1st, we're gonna have a new firefighter. So I urge all councilors, the commitment she's making at this point here to be here and to go to work on April 1st covers what we were all questioning about, you know, was she gonna come in 6 months from now? People were talking about it. I think the question's been answered. I urge everybody to support this and to send it up to council with a positive vote. Thank you.
Anybody else?
The candidate is here if you wish to.
You wish to say something?
No, I mean, he said everything. Needed to be said, I feel.
I have a question. April 1st, you planning to move to Massachusetts?
I would be moved up here like during March, probably towards the end, but yeah, starting like first.
So you'll be here when you start your job, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I want to say thank you to firefighter Matthew as well. I served with him 6 years, was a pleasure. He's a good man, that's the only thing I can say. Good luck with his life. Chair Lazo.
I'd just like to say, it was amazing in talking with Abby, was that Texas drawl. You know, it's a little different than Massachusetts lingo, so to speak, but it was interesting, and I thought you were very well read today. Thank you.
Chief, you mentioned she left Florida. This is the second meeting we have, and you know, she's a firefighter in Texas, and you keep saying she coming from Florida. She live in Florida too?
Oh, you just say Florida.
Oh, Texas, I'm sorry. She's from Texas, yes. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, abstain. 3-1.
Congratulations. We'll see you Monday night. See you Monday night. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Agenda 4, review, discuss the town manager appointment of Zachariah G. Martins of Southbridge, Mass. as a constable for the town of Southbridge, pending and successful background check, completion of state ethic, and proper bonding. Motion to recommend the town council for confirmation. Some move.
Second.
Thank you. So Zachary had come to the office on, he had been referred to us by a current constable, Alan Jeske. Alan had stated to me, and I confirmed it with him, that he is very busy. I also had a conversation with Ted Dubsky, and Ted is leaving to go to Florida for an extended period of time to vacation. The other individual that we had appointed, Mr. Rivera, has had a change in some of his family circumstances. His wife had taken a new job, so his time has been limited for him to onboard and all that. So Mr. Martins came in, highly recommended by Alan, who's a longtime constable in the area. Alan's looking for some assistance in the town of Southbridge for any services that we have. and I recommend him for appointment.
Okay. Any discussion? I met Zachariah, seems a good guy, I recommend him too as well.
And I think at this point, that originally, just so name, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Originally, I was not gonna appoint another constable. I thought 4 was gonna be enough, but based on the conversation with Mr. Jeske, who is very active as a constable, and him stating that he needs the help, I felt it was appropriate to bring this name forward. And the fact that he is a Southbridge resident, we had a couple that were out of town that were looking to become constables. This is a town resident that's looking to serve the town of Southbridge, so I recommend it.
Thank you.
Continue.
All in favor? 4-0. Agenda number 5, review, discuss request to pay the balance of year FY '24 Police Department invoice to NRG Direct Energy in the amount of $274.49 to be paid from FY '25 fund in account 019002110-521100 Admin Police Natural Gas. Entertain a motion to recommend to Town Council for approval. Note, there's gonna be a 2-3 vote required at the Town Council. So moved.
Second.
So moved, second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason for this request is, quite frankly, is when we were doing the bid package for the natural gas, if you remember, we just did a brand new package to get lock-in prices for the next 3 years. When we were doing the pricing for that, we had our consultant was trying to pull up the invoices for the police station, and we were finding that there was no reports of gas usage at the police station. However, we knew it's occupied, and we sent out we contacted the company, and we found out that the meter reader was not sending out transmitted data. So we had to catch up, and because this was after the fiscal year, we were left with that bill. So it was a mechanical malfunction with the meter read, and that's why this bill has to be paid in this year, but because we had already closed out the prior year.
Chief, you like to say anything?
What the town manager said, Mr. Chairman. I agree. It's exactly what happened.
Any, all in favor? All in favor, 4-0. Agenda number 6, review, discuss police department transfer request for $4,300 from account 001210-51100 salary and wage to account 001210-5251100 maintenance and equipment to cover the cost of different and Rendex Pervasor database for our computer added dispatches, all serve and backup. Entertain a motion to recommend the town council for approval.
Second.
First and second, go ahead, Chief.
If I could, through you, Mr. Chair, this is an ongoing issue. You heard me talk about it tonight with the last item on the agenda. We had several hacks or attempted hacks into our building that could not have been budgeted for, and I had to hire outside service to come in to deal with these hacks. That's what that is. This is a continuous thing every month where we're getting pinged. We know someone from the outside's trying to get in, but they're not, because we have this company working with us right now. And I'll elaborate on that much more in the last item. That's why we need this money,
Okay.
to pay bills.
You have the money.
We do, right now.
Any comment? All in favor? Thank you. Agenda number 7, review and discuss a police department transfers request for $28,950 from account 001210-51100 salary and wage to account 21800057000-80200 state law enforcement trust to cover future cost of narcotic criminal investigation. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
If I could, thank you.
Okay.
Is that enough?
The reason for this is specific because of the ARPA funds that we had committed to the police department for this endeavor. If you remember, we had allocated $60,000 to the police department for this through ARPA. The two vehicles that we purchased came in a little bit over $30,000, and this was the remaining balance. When we were going to set up at the end of the year, because we had to have everything secured by December 31st under contract,
Correct.
we had several conversations with our auditor about whether in fact we could in fact do contracts because of the type of work that was gonna be done. And because of the type of work that was gonna be done, we were unable to do contracts. So based on the auditor, and I think I've said this in a couple of meetings, we're a revenue replacement community. So what he suggested is anything that we do within the existing budget that relates to that mission that we put forward with opera, we could take that money and book it towards opera and close out the opera funds. And take whatever money would have been used for this endeavor and transfer it to the law enforcement trust fund, and the chief can use it as whatever years he can. So it's more or less just an accounting work to make sure that we didn't lose the remaining ARPA funds and that were used for the appropriate purpose. So that's the reason for this.
Okay.
And this was all done through our accountant and our auditor.
Thank you, Town Manager, Chief.
All set, Mr.
All
Chair.
set. Councilor Senior?
We appropriated our ARPA funds at the end of December.
Yeah.
When did we remove it from the, to pay for the vehicles or whatever we did with it?
December.
We took the ARPA funds and reverted it back,
No, we took the opera funds at $60,000.
correct?
We said that we were gonna purchase two vehicles, which we did, under that $60,000.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
This was the remaining balance
The
that we were
van.
gonna use for outside other
Right.
activities.
It was the vans that we purchased?
Correct.
Okay,
So this is just an accounting measure to make sure that those funds weren't lost to opera and are used for the appropriate function.
so this remaining balance that we're doing tonight is what's left of ARPA?
No.
No, we've expended the opera funds by allocating it to an officer that's dedicated to that type of investigation. So we took it and paid opera money out of the, well, we used the opera money to pay for that position out of the existing salary line item. We're now transferring whatever money which was left to the law enforcement trust fund.
So you're trying to say like it didn't go through the ARPA committee, correct?
No, I mean, it went.
I don't think she need to
We
go.
It
We
went
used
through
the opera
committee,
money.
But I don't remember the funds being, I thought the funds were being used for a combination of drug buys, investigation.
Correct, and we can't do that under contract, so that's why we're transferring the money.
So,
to the
but
law.
you just mentioned we paid a salary. Did I hear it wrong?
I'm trying to make this because there was a lot of confidentiality that we had during this thing, that we had a pocket of money
Correct,
allocated for a certain mission.
correct.
We're still doing that mission, but the money will then be paid out of the law enforcement trust fund as opposed to the opera contracts. The opera contract has paid the salary, it's just a revenue replacement. The use of the money is still the same, for the same purpose that it was allocated for.
So Councilor Senior, it went through the process through the accountant, so it's all set now. Any other question?
Nope.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Number eight, review discussed a firefighter transfers request of $75,000 from account 001220-511000 salary and wage to account 001220-513000 overtime. Entertain a motion to recommend town council for approval.
So moved.
Son move, Councilor Ortiz, second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The chief and I have had extensive conversations over the activity that the fire department has. As anybody knows, the fire department has been extremely busy, and the activity that the department has increased dramatically over the period over last year. And also, we've had a number of major fires and activity in the department that's creating, and vacancies that create overtime, the number of ambulance calls, callbacks, and all that. The fact that we have a number of new firefighters hired that haven't started yet, frees up in overtime because of vacancies. So I asked the chief to look through the current account for his salary account and see what monies were available to transfer, because the overtime account will become short, and look within the existing salary line items that, because of vacancies, that we can transfer from the salary vacancies that have been over the past 6-7 months, and move that money from simply salaries to the overtime account for right now, so that we can have adequate funds, hopefully, to get through the rest of the year, pending no major other fires. I mean, you take a look at, Cross Street Fire, Oliver Street, all those fires, extensive amount of overtime, so, we're doing this within his existing operating budget, and when we start to review the budget for next year, we'll take a look at these accounts to make sure that we've adequately funded them. Fortunately, during the budget, and I thank the council, we had increased some of these overtime budgets because we knew that we were in some challenges. That's where we're at right now.
Thank you. Chief?
Just a couple additional things. The town manager is right, the increased fire activity is definitely one thing. But the other whole is that we have a minimum staffing of 5. We maintain that all the time, which causes overtime. Some of those challenges that we have are, we've lost some staff over the last 7 or 8 months, so leave open positions. We have mandatory training obligations where members still go to the fire academy for a 10-week period, so we still have to backfill. When we hit that number of 4, we automatically have to bring in overtime to happen. Some of the things behind the scenes that you're not aware of is that we do have a current IOD case, and we also had an employee that was out on FMLA for a very extended period of time. So all of these things, including the fire activity, like the town manager said, really puts into motion that we've used quite a bit of our overtime budget. As we move forward, I'm looking at that number, looking at the 26th budget process also. So this is definitely needed. I'm not saying that this will be all of it. It all depends on how our brush season goes, and also in the fire activity as a whole, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Chief. Councilor Senior?
Last year, you had $164,000 in the budget for overtime, not including any transfers that were done at the end of the year. Right, 24. Last year, we gave you additional 26%, an additional $50,000 to bring your overtime budget to $214,000. Am I right? Roughly?
210.
Okay. And so this is gonna bring it to 285,000 in overtime. Is it, what do we have in that overtime account now?
Right now, it's through the chair. We have about 22% left of it. It's as of this past week, which is the updated number, like $26,000 left.
So if the trend is continuing with fires and recalls and mutual aid, that $75,000 isn't going to be enough,
Potential, you're right.
potentially. So we're going to have to keep coming back. So how do we make it work? How do we do that? I mean, I'm not gonna say at some point there's no money to be had. I know we have other accounts that we can go into, but we need to have enough money there to cover the expense so we won't keep coming to transfers. So if it's more than 75,000, I believe you're gonna use more than 75,000, and you've already used up almost $200,000. And you're not even halfway through the year. You're just gonna be reaching halfway through the year. So I believe that there should be more money put in there to cover it instead of keep coming for transfers and not worrying about not covering the shifts.
Town Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You're absolutely right. At this point, we're looking extremely at his budget to see what available funds were available in that budget. With the potential that we have to come back, and we're gonna have to look when we work with our finance director, my executive, operations dean. We'll take a look at those other accounts where we've had staffing shortages, that perhaps there's another account that we can transfer money. At this point, I'm trying to be responsible enough to make sure that we have enough money to get through at least the next quarter, and then evaluate those other accounts and come back. I don't have a problem coming back and saying, this is what it is, and we're gonna try to manage the overtime account for the safety of our residents and our firefighters. And if we have to come back, we have to come back. I think if you saw the trend this year, we've had very, very few transfers in 7 months of this budget. So that, I think that goes to the fact that us as on my side as the town manager with my team, and the town council on your side advocating and supporting us when we came back to those, we've tried to address these items. This particular thing, when it comes to firefighter staffing, would go back to what we looked at when I was on council probably 4 or 5 years ago, when we had extremely high overtime, the call volume was increasing, and we had to take a look at staffing. And that may be another thing that we're gonna have to work together with the town council to look at the staffing of the fire department and look to what we're gonna do as a strategic operational plan going forward. And we will work with the fire department and the members of the fire department and the chief to come up and develop that plan.
That was, my next question was staffing.
Yep.
Is it time that we need to take a comprehensive look at the staffing levels and what we should have, what we can have, what we can afford? So I would hope that you would be doing that sooner than later.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, absolutely, we are always looking at that, and I think we've had a lot of challenges over this past year that we're looking at various departments, and the fire department, the police department. When you look at those numbers, we all know those that listen to scanners and have radios like I do in my house. I know how, every time these guys go out, I have the IM responding on my phone, and every time there's a recall, second alarm, I know. So I've been tracking that as the town manager to say, where are our needs? And now we have to work together to develop that plan, but it's gonna have to be a comprehensive financial plan, just like we did several years ago, to look at the call volume and the amount of overtime, and what are the costs of adding, say, 4 more firefighters to the group, so now they're at 8, and how does that offset overtime? So that's something that we are looking at as a team, a town, and we have to start developing that plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager, great job. You know, this is the first time actually I see some transfers, and it didn't come out from town budget, actually from the fire department inside account. Any other question? All in favor? All set. Agenda number 9, review, discuss, accept of a donation of 15,000 from United Lands, and allow the chief of police to use it at their discretion. Entertain a motion to recommend the town council to accept the donation.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Town Manager?
Further, the chief, he does have a copy of the check. I did have the copy of the check. I just got it. It will be in the packet for the town council meeting. The check from the individual donated, but I'll let the chief. He had sent that up late on Friday. That's why there was an amended agenda, and I just didn't have the check. And Matt has been out ill the last couple days, so I'll let the chief explain it. But the backup material will be in your agenda for the town council.
Thank you, Town Manager. Chief?
And if I could, through you, Mr. Chair, every year in December, the president and owner of United Lens contacts me, ask us what our needs are. I explained to him some of the things that we needed. And he had donated a check, 15,000. He's got some more coming. He just wanted to get into 2025. And again, every single year we do this. This money will be spent on portable radios that we need. They're about $3,300 a piece with the new upgrades that the fire department just did at our place. We're also going to get some technology for our roll call room, a smart board, and we're going to get, as you know, we have a large drone now with infrared technology for outside. We're getting a smaller one now for inside, for search warrant executions, things like that. That now the technology's there. Whatever. So it's a much smaller version that goes inside, so our police officers don't have to. And if we can get somebody out using a drone rather than somebody with a gun, it's a win-win for everybody. So that's what I plan on using this money for.
Thank you, Chief. So you're gonna be using it, not sitting in a box in the office?
It'll be deployed immediately.
Any other?
Illegally.
I tried to not say the
Mr.
drone.
LaRochelle, you like to say something?
No, I'm good.
You good? Anybody else? All in favor? Agenda number 10, review, discuss the implementation of municipal local civilian security grant program to strengthen civilian security and reduce future cyber risk for the police and fire department. Entertaining a motion to recommend the town council to accept future costs associated with the transition to cloud-based software.
So moved.
Second.
So, the town council had, we had been awarded a grant, we accepted that grant. The chief and the chiefs and their teams have been working on this. In conversation with our IT director, we're gonna be in serious need of some significant, network upgrades, on network servers. This would transition us to a cloud-based, secure system. We would be working with the chiefs to manage that throughout the budget process, and I will turn it over to the chief to explain any further.
All right,
What chief? You got
I'll go
Chief,
for
what's in,
you.
Okay, chief.
So through you, Mr. Chair, it's just gonna take a little bit of explanation for some of the people that may not know what we were doing. So, we applied last year for the municipal local cybersecurity grant, as the manager alluded to. That came to PPP with the packet, and with everything was $89,162.40. That came on July 29th of 2024. It went up to full council on August 5th, 2024. It was approved. A little bit of the history is back in March of 2022, which most people in this room know. The police department and the fire department were hacked. We had to pay just about $50,000 to get our data back. At that time, luckily, it was under an insurance claim, but who's to tell what happens next? Since that 2002 hack, the fire chief and I have worked together with the IT team that we currently have in place. But even in spite of that, we've experienced some issues. The PD is constantly, like I had mentioned earlier, getting pings. People are trying to hack. I just had to do a transfer. In June of last year, I had to come to this council and ask for a transfer for $2,205 to restore some data that we lost as a result of a hack. I also had to purchase a new server back in May, on May 23rd, 2022. The town council approved it as a capital request for more than $21,000. I'm being told now that we can't keep pace with technology, with the hackers and with everything that's going on in the world, and we're gonna need a new server soon. So again, that's a $21,000 purchase just 2 years ago, and we're already looking at maybe having to upgrade because of the hacks. The state, of course, is being very generous with their grants right now, because they plan on implementing some new security requirements for public safety agencies, and that's why we're here tonight, to kind of work towards getting there while the money's still available. The fire chief and I broke down our costs that currently are associated with all these growing IT needs, and it came out to $34,940.76. That's what we both, FD and PD, use right now for IT. I know the town has an IT person. I've spoken with the man, but the issue is, and I've said it to him, so I don't feel bad saying it. They're available Monday to Friday. It's normal business hours. Our operations obviously 24/7. We never close. Again, it's not a slight towards the current IT person. I've done some research before coming in here tonight. I've spoken with chiefs, fire and police, multiple towns our size and some larger. A lot of them are now hiring IT-based people for, say, schools, town hall, DPW operations, but they have a separate entity that takes care of public safety needs just because it's more complex. World Band, who's here tonight, if you have any IT questions once I'm done, the fire chief and I cannot answer, they'll be happy, but needless to say, public safety is getting very complicated, and we have needs the other departments don't have in town. So the cost, with all that said, to go cloud-based and to meet these new planned security requirements that are coming from the state, I know they're coming, for public safety, it's gonna be zero because we already have that grant that was approved back in 2024. The problem is, once that grant runs out, we now have to start budgeting for IT so we can keep everything cloud-based. And with that said, and I know the number's big, the total cost for that, so Paul and I right now are paying just about $35,000. The total cost to go cloud-based is $94,495.44, and it's a big number. I see you looking at me in the eyes. But before you say that, before you get, the net new cost then for the town, what we're budgeted for right now, the net new cost would be $59,554. So if you subtract what we're currently paying, we split it between the PD and the fire department. So next year, during budget and during negotiations and budget and capital, the new cost of the town will be $29,777 for each department to be cloud-based. I was talking with the town of Milford, some folks in public safety command staff. They had two hacks kind of simultaneously, relatively close, a couple months ago. Milford uses WorldBand. Milford Town Hall does not. They were all crypto locked. They were shut down for weeks and months. the fire and police were up within an hour because it's cloud-based technology. They have a full-time staff dedicated to these type of things. And I just think it's a no-brainer for us to go with a company like World Van or whomever else the town council chooses. We've done our research, we've done our homework. And remember, we just had a hack 2 years ago, it was $50,000. So for the cost of, and for the peace of mind, where we're running 24/7 and we're not gonna be shut down again, it's less than $30,000 per department starting next fiscal year. And eventually, when the state, and if I'm still chief, comes forward and says, hey, you guys have to go more secure, I'm gonna be back in here saying, now it's mandated, and they're shoving it down our throats and not giving us any other options. That's why they have all this money available, because that's the direction they're trending in right now. So, I don't know if there's other, chief, or,
Councilor.
I guess I'm curious, with the motion itself, I don't disagree, I think, I completely agree that it is really important to secure, all the transactions happening, at the police and the fire departments, but just curious about why there's no actual number in the motion, and it just says future costs. I don't know, like, what if the cost is not 29,000 and it comes out, I'm uncomfortable with not having a number there that we're voting on.
I think the chief was looking to make sure that we have support of the council to continue on this mission before we transition and fully implement the grant, I believe was the case.
if I could, Mr. Chair, we accepted the money for this year. What the direction I'm going is exactly for the support of the council. So next year, when we're going over budgets, and the fire chief and I are in here, maybe it's not, I have 29,777.34, because that number's locked in for next year, but the year after, yes, who knows? It wouldn't double, it wouldn't triple, and if it did, then we'd have to reevaluate. But I just think we need to kind of get out in front of it, and this is just the cost. This is what it's gonna be, and I just wanted to get a number out to see what the council's appetite is. If you vote no on it, that's fine, we'll keep marching the way that we have been, but it's kind of piecemeal, and I've already talked a couple times tonight about other hacks that are already happening in our department. We just somehow been able to kind of dodge and bob and weave, and I've got a person who does part-time IT for us that also does the jail in Worcester, and he's been helping us out logging in from home, and it's been kind of a piecemeal, kind of putting a Band-Aid over it, and this is really correcting the problem.
Okay, Councilor Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the Chief of Police. Is this substitute, or is this part of the video storage, or is that separate?
This would also include the body-worn camera.
Okay,
yes.
so it's not just
No.
files and
All-
police records and stuff like
If I could, it's all police records with the police department,
that? Okay.
everything that we have.
And then they also do repairs on computers and stuff like that as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so there's no more IT
No.
in-house, but
Well-
these guys are basically IT in-house now, or you have some people that are tech savvy?
If I could, through you, Mr. Chair, we have a police officer right now, he's very good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily have to call World Van for minor things.
Yeah.
But he is fantastic, he's been doing it for 20 years now. But some of his role would be reduced, yes. Anything serious, this is the first call we're gonna make.
Okay, so after that, after this year, it becomes 30 grand for each department, basically, to come up with, to continue using this year to year?
Yes,
Especially if you need to do it. I mean, I would support it, if it's gonna be a regulation that has to be cloud-based in the future. 30 grand per department to keep everything safe from crypto hacks and other stuff. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. La Rochelle.
Well, I just wanted to say, I echo what your comments, but the way I read this, correct me if I'm wrong, through you, Mr. Chair. This is to go with this grant. So in the future, should your needs increase, grant monies go down, you have to come to the council for more money anyway.
Mhm.
So I think there's no hidden feeds, and I think with the big picture, this is a no-brainer.
through you, Mr. Chair, just so the council knows that we're transparent. If this is an issue next year, we're sitting here, and for some reason it's $75,000 per. Obviously, I'm not gonna put the town in that position. This is just it's the $29,000 number for next year, and going forward, if it gets to the point where it's way over what we can handle, then we would move in another direction.
Alta. Councilor Sheehan. And then
Just a couple questions. This is a Is this gonna be like a contract,
Yes,
24/7?
yes.
So the 24/7, well, are we gonna be billed per call after that?
No,
So it's for the whole year?
yes.
And my other question is, we don't have to go out for bid for that?
It's off the state bid list.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Councilor Riva?
I guess my question is to the town manager, the way that it's worded, and I definitely, again,
I got you.
trust our chief and both our chiefs, on this, but
At least the police chief, I know.
I trust you both. But does that tie us, let's say if the bill or the cost goes up to 75 or double or whatever, does that obligate us to pay whatever that cost is because of the language in here?
I think the chief was just trying to get ahead of the game that says, hey, council, there's gonna be future costs, it's not just all grant funded, and we have to be prepared for it and implement that cost. And then it'd be on us to make sure that we have the right contract and the right dollar amounts to come to council, because anything would come to council for the dollar increase and the appropriation. So it's really just, council, do you support us continuing on this grant cloud based, knowing that we're gonna have to build into the budget dollar amounts, and we'll secure the final dollar amount.
Mr. And just to answer Council Reeves' question, this is a year-over-year contract. We'd have to come back to the council every year for the contract anyway. So it's not like we're married to it or we're signing a 5-year deal and it could fluctuate. It'd be every year I'm coming in here and giving you the numbers and kind of explaining. And we wouldn't sign anything because we can't without the approval of the council.
Right, yeah, I
Is that-
appreciate
yeah.
that, just words I'm a writer, words matter, and so I'm just concerned about just that
I
blanket
think
language.
as a town, we have to take a look at all our contracts and all our cloud-based services, because we're going into this technology environment. You know, we're implementing OpenGov for our permanent process. It's gonna start February, I think it's February 3rd, so February 3rd. You know, there's costs associated with that we have to build into the budget, because there was a grant to implement it, but now there's costs associated. There's costs to make sure that you're secure. More and more towns are seeing these hacks come. I don't wanna be the town that has to have another hack, because, you know, we have to be cognizant of it, because it could cripple towns and be very costly.
Thank you. Also, Councilor Riva? Councilor Love?
Again, I think the council is showing it's supportive of the concept, but again, are we signing an open checkbook, or are we gonna put a number on that agenda item for how much we should put up? Council Rivas brings out a valid point as far as, normally we always support the grant, matching funds, whatever it is. Is there a number that we can put to the agenda item so we can further understand that this is what we're gonna be spending up to, even if it was a top number up to
Yes.
25,000, or whatever the number is? I think that when you bring it in front of council, I think the taxpayer's gonna be looking at us saying, well, how much is that? And if we can go up to a number and cover it, then I would feel comfortable, you know, at that point here, that if something else happens, we have to amend it, we can always go to the manager's office.
Chief, I know you already got a grant for that, so you have a rough idea what you're gonna pay, correct?
Yes.
It's for the least 2025? Is that one for 2025 or
Yes.
2026?
If this is approved at council during the next meeting, we would implement this immediately, or we'd start working on it for
Okay.
2025. And then for the 2026 contract, yes, so to Council Lazo's point, if we put a number on that, not to exceed X amount of dollars for 2026, we could do that. That's reasonable.
So right now, you already know the number for 2025?
It's zero.
Zero,
With the grant,
because the
yes,
grant. But
yes.
what was the grant amount, if you don't mind
The
asking?
grant amount was $89,162.40.
Okay, so it might be 26 similar.
Yes, I'm just looking at what the fire chief and I currently pay for IT services minus what the cost to go with Worldband would be. And that number comes out to $29,777.34 for next year.
Plus the IT you paying right now.
Yes. The total amount, that again, it's a high number that we talked about, would be $94,495.44, which is a huge number, I know. But we're already paying the $34,000, 940.76 cents. So if you subtract it, it comes out to a little under $30,000
Correct.
new cost. So I don't know if it could be worded, you know, not to exceed in new costs, $30,000, or however the council chooses for that.
Chief, to continue a question, Councilor Lazo, if I can, is any limited on the data in the iCloud? It's gonna be like, let's say you have 100 gigabyte, if you increase that, it's gonna be more cost. If next year we decide not to go with the iCloud, are we gonna be able to retrieve that data, put it in our department? What's the cost?
Yep. I would defer that to the owner of the company who's here tonight.
Sure,
We can
Ronnie
just say-
Tenney from Wilton. So the way that it works is the tenant is owned by the town still. We just manage it. We provide you all the licensing for it. We provide all the support, maintenance, and design and development. It's all based on a per user cost and a per device cost for the support side, for the in-house support side. There is a usage cost that's built in that could fluctuate every month, but it's gonna be a very small fluctuation because once we set the usage, it's roughly the same throughout the day. It's not like there's a major change in the amount of employees that'll be using them from each side. It does, again, a lot of this price is due to licensing costs. And bundled in those licensing costs is all of the security bolt-on pieces that we're at, right? So these numbers should not change unless we add some major security feature that it was very expensive. Excuse me. We buy these, what we do, we try to keep the cost low, and I know, instead of saying low, it's definitely a big number, but it's you know, the departments combined are pretty big. We try to keep the price low by, we buy all of our licensing in bulk from our vendors, we manage it and maintain it, that way we can bolt it on for cheaper costs, because we're buying in such bulk. Instead of just selling you the amount that the town would need, your price would be higher on, right, so we're able to keep those costs down. Working with the IMC software that needs to be put out into the cloud for the security reasons based upon how that software is developed, they didn't have a cloud option. We went and developed that for them. We implemented in Oxford, Millbury. We're in talks with Milford now to move theirs out there because most of their other stuff is all cloud-based up there, like the chief was alluding to. So again, that's a lot of product that you're getting, and then our services are all just built in there for 24 hours. So the numbers should stay roughly the same.
I'm sure you already look at the, you know, the data we have. In your thought and your experience, the number we get already from the chief, I believe, come from you too.
Correct.
It looks like it's a decent numbers, or just that's a rough number to throw it out there. It might change in the future. I know, I understand a little bit of but some people just guess.
Yeah.
And you say you do in different town, correct?
Correct.
So you have an idea if that in different town it went up a lot or changed a lot?
If anything, it actually went down. We basically, to build out the price that we get, there's a calculator that's given to us from the vendor, from Microsoft. And we plug in all the numbers into that to get our number. It's generally on the high side. Also, IMC software right now, and that's what we're talking about, the higher number here. The IMC software we need an adjustment made, which will actually bring the cost down because we can get rid of some of the instances that we have to build in the cloud. They've just told us we should have that implemented within the next 2 months in the next revision coming out. So when working with them, we're going to even reduce the cost further. I don't know if it's going to be a $20,000 savings or anything like that, but less than what we put out there for you because we're going to reduce those instances.
I support all of this work, and I will support moving this to the council. But for Monday, I'd love to see some kind of up to and some number there for me to be comfortable to vote on it in that affirmative on Monday.
Any other question? All in favor?
Just so I understand, Mr. Chair, so for our purposes for the next council meeting, we will have language in the agenda up to, not to exceed. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
That
Thank you.
agenda item may be, just for the record, because I'm going to the conference, the agendas are pretty much already done. I may not have the number until Monday, so we may have to amend that number. On on the floor, because the agenda's gonna be posted before staff.
We can do that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda 11, adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Thank you.